Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Love to Live Healthy show. I'm Josephine Fitzpatrick, author of Cheat Day Rules, available on Amazon. I'm a weight loss nutrition specialist for over 15 years, and I work with thousands of clients all over the world. I own Innovation Healthy Market at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, where for the last 12 years we sell hundreds of prepared meals and snacks. We are open to the public 7 days a week. You do not have to be a client to shop in our store. We have customers from all over Long Island visit our store every day, and we ship tri-state. We also offer free Long Island delivery every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we hand deliver to New York City every Tuesday. We are on Uber Eats 7 days a week. So if you're looking to lose weight or just eat healthy, come and visit our store. Everything is made fresh daily, and we carry everything from high protein, low carb, gluten-free, sugar-free, plant-based, vegan, keto, and our famous detox. Someone is always available to help you at the store. They will hold your hand to help get you what you want. So please do not hesitate to ask them when you walk in. For more information on our store, delivery, shopping, and weight loss, visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com, or check out our Instagram at Innovation Weight Loss. Today I'm here with Jake Fitzpatrick. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
And today's topic is, why are routines and daily discipline so important for weight loss?
Well, it's
Do you
kind
think
of.
you're a routine person?
I like to think so.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, in the sense that I'm not really like, concrete, like I, have to do this, but like I have things throughout the day that like just never change for me, like, does that make sense?
Yeah. Like you work out every day for work.
I wake up, I go to work, I go to the gym after, like like people's morning coffee, like I have to go to the gym after work. It's just like, or else I'll feel, terrible about myself.
Right. Yeah.
But then like that's really it. I mean, if you like look at my days in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty much the same thing every day. It's like work out, have my meals. That's it.
Right.
And same
it's not
thing
like
for you.
the more detailed stuff. Like you don't ever think about when you're going to eat or not going to eat.
No, I don't have like a routine of like, okay, I need to have like this meal at this time of the day. I need to have like, all right, my first stop is going to be, having my breakfast and stuff like that. No, I never think about that. I just think about like, I know kind of in my head comfortably like the amount that I need to have per day. And I figure it out every day. Every day is different in the sense that I figure it out every day because every day is different.
Because you're busy.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you're on your feet and, you're running around, you don't think like, oh, I got to stop and eat.
Yep, exactly.
But I think that's also, important because you're not really looking to lose weight. So I think if you were looking to lose weight, you would, for people who need a routine, and I think it's so important for people, is you want to know what you're doing every day so you can stay on that, and that's why I think routines actually help create daily discipline.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's funny that you say that too, because like, of course I'm not trying to lose weight, but I'm always trying to stay fit. But it's funny because like, whenever I talk to like dad or you, I'm like, I have trouble getting my meals in throughout the day because I'm so busy. And you guys are always like, you're surrounded by food all day.
I know.
And it's funny how that works. But like, it's, again, you have, things that you keep yourself busy with. Even though the food is there, I never really have the urge like, oh, I'm going to eat right now because I'm bored.
Right.
Because you give yourself things to stay focused on.
Right.
But the funny thing is, most people that are concerned with losing weight tend to surround themselves with things that, would make them succumb to failing.
Right. Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But again,
I think it's
the
like
mindset.
they think about what they can't have.
Yeah, it's the mindset because, of course, I'm putting myself in a position to fail, but also I'm putting myself in a position to succeed because I'm surrounded by food all day. So I could be overeating. Right. But I'm not because I have the mentality of like, okay, I know that I need to eat when I need to eat. Right. But that's it.
Which is so important. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because
it's like people always say when they're in the store, if I could buy the whole store, I would.
It's very true. Yeah. I also think that when you are, this is a whole different type of mindset, but when you are in a position where it is available to you all the time, you don't look for it. It's only when you can't have it that you want it, And we used to say that with like some of our neighbors, like the kids, like, we always had like chocolate in the house and we never like didn't have things because I didn't ever want you guys to be like, oh, I can't have that. Like that's such not a good mindset. Yeah. So they would come over because they didn't have it in their houses and they would immediately raid our pantry, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the biggest misconception about you too, is like people always look at me when they're in the store and they're they're like, oh my God, does she track your meals while you're at home? And I'm like, no, if anything, like people forget, like, you know, you're a weight loss expert, you're a nutritionist, but you're my regular, like, Sicilian mother that forces me to eat, because anytime I say, like, I want to look better, you're like, oh, you're perfect. And I'm like, okay.
You are perfect.
Yeah. And I'm like, why can't you treat me like the clients?
Because they come to me for a specific thing, and that's what they get. Yeah. And it's different, you know. Yeah. But I think that routines, getting back to that, I think it's really, really important for when you're trying to lose weight. I think that, you know,
absolutely.
People always say, like, are creature habits bad? I think they're the best when it comes to weight loss, you know. Even if you are eating the same thing over and over, if you feel like it's working, if you feel it's mentally filling you, that's great, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you said, the creature of habit, like, the creature of habit is always, you know, it's like people that don't like change, you know? Like, people are always like, you know, even in like relationships, like you know, sometimes the significant other will get like angry with the other person because they're like, you don't like change. Like, why don't you like trying new things with me? Like, and it's never really a bad thing if you look at it in the grand scheme, because if you don't like change, you know it works for you. But at the same time, you know, there's people that, you know what they can do, know what they need to do. And, you know, like you said, the creature of habit, someone that doesn't really like change, it's never really a bad thing.
No, it's not. And sometimes it's just the way it, like for me, and you know this about me, like I will start with one thing and eat it every day until I can't stand it anymore, and then I'll never have it again.
Yep. And then
and then I go on to something
it's like
new.
Seasonal.
Yeah. It's crazy, but I do it all the time.
Yep.
But, you know, that just for me, it's easy too, because I do have a busy life. So when I know what I'm eating, I'm like, okay, these are my meals, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You
What's
know?
your newest thing right now? Gatorade Zero?
My Gatorade Zero.
It's funny because nobody knows. Like, they probably just think that you drink the Gatorade Zero, but you do like half in a glass and then half water.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I mix it. I always have my water in there.
Yeah, Gatorade Zero.
But I do like the electrolytes. I think, too, with this time of year, between running and working out, I feel like I need them. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like it really helps me, but I do like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but a big thing for me, which I don't think a lot of people realize, is I am a fasting. I don't eat all day.
Yeah.
I never eat. I'll work out, I'll run, but I don't eat until, you know, normally around like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I'll have my dinner and my snacks, and I just have them in one time of the day. I just feel better doing that.
Do you think that that was like a choice that you made, or do you think that over time of your life that you've been just busy, it kind of just worked for you, so then you stuck with it?
I think so. I think the second part. I think, you know, I mean, there's a big thing with fasting, and I think it works great, and I do turn the clients onto it, but not everyone can do it, you know. But for me, it was always something that I just, I enjoy eating when I can sit down and actually relax and know what I'm eating. I don't like to like run through the day.
It's so funny. I'm the same way, because like in the store, I'll never eat a meal because I don't like eating my meal like standing up and talking to people.
I could never do that.
You know, there's a funny thing.
I wouldn't
like,
enjoy it.
Yeah, like I get called like an iPad kid all the time because like I need to have like my computer open, need to have something in front of me like that in order to have my meal and enjoy it. I won't just walk around eating a meal. Like that's not like I can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to talk to anybody while I'm eating.
Yeah,
I want to, you know.
I noticed like Jeff does that. Like he'll walk around like, and he's constantly throwing nuts in his mouth and stuff.
Oh God, that sounds.
And I'm always like, you know what? I could never do that. And then a client walks up to him. I'm like, Jeff, chew.
It's so funny because they'll hand me off the phone sometimes.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm like, and he'll be like, eat something. He'll tell me to eat something, and I'm like, I'm not in the mood right now. Like I could be. If I was home,
it's just
I'd be,
always been the way I am. Like I like to sit and know and relax and eat.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I maybe it's just I don't like being rushed either. I don't know.
But it is also comes down to our routine. Like I know I wake up, I run, I go to work. You know, I come home, I'll work out, I'll, you know, start dinner, or Dad starts dinner, I should say.
Yeah.
And then we eat. But it's like, for me, that's a great routine. But everybody has their own routine, you know, and you have to kind of find what works for you.
Yeah.
But I do think you get more done in a day when you have a routine.
Absolutely.
Because you're not just putting things off until the end of the day. You're not just putting things off that never get done. You know,
absolutely.
If you know, like, you know, immediately I wake up in the morning, I go upstairs, I check all my emails, you know?
Yep.
Like I
Yep.
just have my routine that I
Yeah.
know works for me. So you have
Yeah.
to come up with your routine that works for you, that you know is going to keep you disciplined for what your goals are.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that I might be doing something wrong in the sense that, so I'm like, it's funny because you say that, like, you know, you fast throughout the day and then you know when you're going to eat. But of course, me and you eat different amounts.
Right.
So do you think that I'm almost doing something wrong in the sense that, you know, in the morning I'll have, you know, like a muffin or my PBJ bites or something. But as soon as I'm in the car and I'm on the way to the kitchen and I'm on the way to the other kitchen and then on the way to the store, I'm not eating for probably about like 5 hours. But then when I get home or before I go to the gym while I'm at the store, I'll have my, you know, my first real meal. And then probably from like, you know, 6:30 to 11 o'clock, I'm shoving like 4 meals worth in that short period of time. So is that almost a bad thing? Because that would, like we said before in past episodes, like
I don't think
that would almost be
I don't
like,
think you're digesting it properly,
I know,
and your
I'm
body's
probably
not
turning
processing
it into stored
properly.
fat.
Yeah, because you can only process
Yeah.
so much at a time.
Yeah. So maybe for me, I
And
would,
I think that I don't think you need 4 meals because
Yeah.
this is the thing. I think mentally you're thinking, oh, I got to get my meals in. But really, if you just had your first meal in the evening, like say you had your, you know, breakfast or whatever, and then you went through the day, and then in the evening you're eating your meal, I bet you if you gave your body time after that first meal, you would feel full.
yeah.
But you don't. You just keep, you're like, oh, I missed meals, so I got to have them all at once.
Yeah. No, and obviously, you know, people that, you know, I mean, that's definitely something I know I need to work on because in my head I'm thinking like, oh my God, I need to get my meals in. So then I automatically just equate that to, okay, the more food I get in before I go to bed is good. But really, I'm being a hypocrite because when we talked about it in the past, it's just going to be stored fat.
Exactly.
You know?
So for you, if you said to me like, oh, I want to lose like, you know, 5 or 10 pounds, okay, or just shred a little bit more, like the layer of fat off. Not that you have any, I'm just saying. I'm just using an example. I would say you have your breakfast, then before you go to the gym, have 1 meal from the store, okay? Then you usually have your shake after you work out, right?
Yep.
And then you come home and you have your dinner, you're fine.
Yeah.
And that's plenty of food. It's just that you, again, have this mentality. I've seen you before you go to the gym. I'm like, that's too many meals.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but your mindset was I didn't eat. But that's okay that you didn't eat because that's burning that fat
Yep.
that you want. So when you go to the gym and you work out, your body's immediately working with your muscle instead of the fat.
No, yeah, that's true. Also, too, I mean, it's that, you know, that emotional aspect of it, that, you know, mental aspect of it, where, you know, I'm in my own head about it because I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to lose muscle. Like, I overcompensate by having 2 meals worth instead of 1 meal worth. And it feels like in the moment, like, oh, I'm doing something right. But really, you know, you're not. Just like when people say like, oh, I'm eating my healthy meal with a side salad. It's good food, but it's too much.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
So it's the same
especially
thing with
when
me.
the salad has avocado, cheese, nuts,
Yeah.
everything
So
in
it's
it.
the same thing with me because I'll have, you know, instead of having like from our store, instead of having like 1 serving of the salmon, I'll have 2.
Right.
It's too much food, but it's in my head. I'm like,
the
okay,
moment.
I didn't have a meal before, so I'm going to have 2 meals worth right now.
And I bet you, honestly, which you should try it this week, and we should check in with you next week.
Oof.
But if you give yourself like a good half hour to an hour after you eat that meal, I bet you feel full. You wouldn't even be able to take the second meal in. You just do it one after the other. So
Even
you
if
don't
I
even
just
give
go to the gym straight after?
Yep. You don't even give your body, your mind the chance to be full. Like, you know?
Yeah. I think I need to do the I remember earlier on when we were talking on here, my 2 hours in between each meal. Because then maybe it'll be like my own very detox, like my very own detox where like I know, okay, every 2 hours I got to eat, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta, you know, maybe I just got to make myself a little uncomfortable out of my, you know, out of my comfort zone. But
that's the hardest thing. And that's when even when we're talking about routine, you know, like it's being uncomfortable is usually hard for everyone, you know?
Of course, yeah. That's why
No
they
one
call it
wants to be
uncomfortable.
hungry. Yeah, that's why they call it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Good point.
Pinnacle.
But nobody wants to be hungry. Nobody wants to be, you know,
Yeah. And look, I mean,
They don't want to go out and not be able to eat if other people are eating.
Yeah. And, like, look, staying in shape isn't just about looking good on the beach, like flexing in the mirror for 2 minutes and, admiring yourself. It's, the surface levels. That's all surface level stuff. That's something we're talking about something deeper here when you talk about, like we talk about like routine and habit, but really, you got to go deeper than that because it's about owning your mind and, really controlling your mindset and being in control of like your life and your daily routine. So when people say like, oh, like, what's your plans today? You're just asking like, what's your day like? But when you really ask somebody, what's your routine? You need to go deeper in the sense of saying like, your routine is your anchor. It's what holds you down every day and it's what keeps you grounded. If you go outside of your routine, you know that you're doing something that's different and that's probably not going to be the best decision for you.
Right.
So, your training, your discipline, your structure to your day, it's what keeps you sharp, and everything like that. And it's not about motivation because motivation, of course, can fade. Of course, it fades for everybody, especially like we just talked about with the seasons. Your motivation, gets a little bit lighter once summer comes around. And when in the wintertime, your motivation's a lot higher because you want to look good for summer.
Right.
So it's fading, and that's okay. It's normal for everybody. But the thing is, it's the consistency.
Like, wouldn't you want to be more motivated in the summer when everyone's in shorts and like used to showing?
Yeah,
so
but why
much
are you going to
skin?
try to look your best like when you don't look your best in the summer? Why are you going to start then? There's a reason why everybody joins the gym in January.
I know. But I do believe that it's, again, when you were just talking about routine and everything, I think it always comes down to consistency.
Yep.
If you were just consistent all year, and doesn't have to mean, consistent doesn't mean perfect.
Yeah.
It just means consistent. You're doing, you're eating most of the time on program. You're working out all the time. You're doing the right things. And, doesn't mean that you don't have vacations or trips or cheat meals, or it just means that you're consistent most of the time. And if you do that all year, then you will always look good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also too like, it's scary because a lot of people don't want to put themselves in that position to be consistent. But the thing is, like, everybody looks at me and they think I'm like some hardcore gym freak. And I'm like,
you kind of are.
No, I know. But like at the same time, it's like, everybody thinks that like every workout I have is like the hardest workout ever. Like there's days where I go in and I'm in there for 3 hours because I feel great. But then there's days where I'm in there for an hour because I don't feel great.
Right.
But everybody still sees the same on the surface.
That's because you're consistent.
That's because I'm consistent though. So it's all about the work that you do when nobody's really watching. Because on the surface level, like I said, everybody looks at me like I'm a gym obsessed, person.
And you're not, really.
I'm not. Like, there's some days where I hate it. Like, you think I want to go to the gym after, like, being at work and, like, not eating and stuff like that? Like, no, of course there's some days where I don't want to do it. But I still do it because it's what works for me.
It's what works for you. And it keeps you, I think it keeps your discipline.
Yep.
It really helps you with every other area of your life, And I do think that's important. And I think we forget that as... listen, there's always, again, we go back to the uncomfortable, You're not going to be 100% motivated or comfortable to, like, do the right thing all the time. But we're not talking about doing the right thing all the time. We're talking about doing it most of the time. And just trying to do it most of the time would be life-changing for people. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think we talked about it another time, though. But, like, I feel like people are so used to feeling sluggish, like when they don't have a routine, and like their routine is almost being out of shape, know?
Yeah, right.
So people are so used to feeling that sluggish feeling. They're so used to feeling like anxious, foggy, like not really having a direction, tired, like lethargic, like they're so used to feeling that way that that's become your routine without you even knowing it. And, they think it's normal, but when you actually break it, you realize how unnormal it actually is. Or not unnormal, but like you realize how, you could be doing so much better. Right. Because you start doing the things that you're supposed to do.
And you feel the way you're supposed to feel.
You feel the way you're supposed to feel. And on top of that, it's like when you eat like crap and you don't move and you scroll on your phone every night, like there's times where I have a meal in front of me and I get stuck scrolling on my phone. Like it happens to everybody. Like I get stuck in a rabbit hole. But then afterwards I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I just wasted so much time, and now my food's cold. So like, and then on top of it, it's like, you get so stuck in the habit and routine of feeling that way that just feels right almost.
Because you don't know any different.
It's funny how, people like me, I feel uncomfortable when I don't go to the gym. I feel uncomfortable when I don't have my meals. But then there's people that are so in that routine of feeling uncomfortable that doing the right things like eating healthy and being active are the things that feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And
it's so true.
Yeah.
And I will, I'm going to just add to that because, and again, I know I'm detox obsessed, but I can't help it. Because think about what you're saying. How many times does someone do the detox and they're like, I can't believe I didn't eat all that food.
Yeah.
I can't believe like I used to eat so much. And I was feeling so good on the detox. I felt so great being a little hungry. I felt so much energy. And it fits into this whole thing because you don't know it until you stop doing it.
Yeah.
You won't know how good you feel until you stop doing the things that are making you not feel good.
Yeah. And when you, stay on top of it, like the detox, when you train hard or, be active.
Consistent.
If you don't want to call it training hard, if you're just consistent.
Yeah, you take a 3-mile walk every day, but you do it every day, you're gonna feel so much better.
Yeah,
Doesn't
even
have
if
to
you're
be
not
hardcore.
even if you're not going for a walk after work, but you're on your feet for work all day. Call it consistent that way. Whatever, it's different for everybody. Not everybody can go to the gym. Not everybody can walk that far. Not everybody can run 9 miles like you, So as long as you're consistent,
even if you're doing 10 minutes a day.
As long as you're consistent, you feel better, you train better, you look better, you look better. It's gonna switch something on in you that you didn't know you had before, to the point where you feel like you're actually in the driver's seat for once in your life. Because you're just been in the passenger seat, taking in everything that you shouldn't be, and you're kind of just coasting through life. But when you actually figure out that your actions have direct consequences to how you feel every day, you're gonna realize, oh wow,
1,000%.
like I feel like this could be going somewhere, and I feel like it's not only like feeling great right now, there's a chance it could feel better.
Yeah. And that you caused how you felt before.
Yeah.
And I do believe, just when you just said that about even like me running, I think people are so much more capable of things than they realize. I think
it's funny because everybody looks at me like the hardcore gym person, and then they look at you like a marathon runner, like a freak.
But the thing is, I think people can do more than they do. And again, like we talk about like the Ozempic or whatever, it's just easy. People sometimes will go, or most of the time will go to the easy route, whether it's the shot, whether it's not exercising, whether it's, doing surgeries instead of exercising, like we were talking about in one of our previous podcasts. But if you really want to change mentally, physically, and do hard stuff, you can. It's just that you have to want to, and you really have to put the work into it.
Yeah.
I think I do believe people are so capable of so much more than they give themselves credit for, or just so much more than they even the effort they want to put in. But if they did put the effort in, they'd be shocked at what they can accomplish.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then also too, to go into what you were saying, like the whole reason.
Because we're not special. We just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, like.
Wait, what? Yeah, but like,
I'm just saying, like, we just put the effort in.
So what
they
am I
can
putting
do
all
it
this
if
effort
we
in
do
for?
it. If we do it, they can do it.
Yeah.
It's just that you have to put that effort in. That's my point.
But, like,
You're special.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like, when you were talking about the shot again before, like, the only reason people do that is not because they want to. It's because of the social pressure.
Yeah. Right.
And everything is social today, like social media, like, the way you look. Nobody really cares. Like, nobody cares. Like, everybody thinks that it's the biggest thing in the world, but nobody cares how you look. Like, to be honest, like, I hate to break it to you, but nobody cares.
I
agree.
I agree.
Like,
you tell them.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but you would be shocked when you realize, like, everybody comments on your post. Everybody comments all the hearts and stuff. Like, oh my God, you look amazing.
And nobody cares. They go scroll to the next thing.
Nobody cares. You're just a number on their following. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like,
even social, your friends, like
even your
they're
friends,
worried
yeah.
about themselves. Everyone's worried about
Everybody's
themselves
worried
today.
about themselves, and
No
it's not a
one's worried about
selfish
what
thing.
you.
It's just,
I mean, they'll
you
be
know,
like, "Oh, you look great. You do," but they don't really care. Listen, when you. That's why it's so important for you to want to be healthy, want to really, really do the right things by yourself, that you're happy with it. You're happy that you're living that way, because that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's like, why the saying is like, work the hardest when nobody's watching, because the people that do things on social media just for the likes, what is that going to do for you? And the
Nothing.
people that work hard when nobody's watching, you're dialed in constantly. You're feeling better. You're feeling sharper, and you know it. So why do you need the validation from anybody else to feel that way, that you already feel great?
And it's not real validation.
And on top of it, you get the aesthetic of looking great. So that's
and
just a
feeling
bonus.
great, and being healthy. All the most important things that you should be doing.
Maturing in this space is realizing that the aesthetic of looking good is just a bonus. That's just a bonus. Like having routine,
Good point.
being healthier, eating healthier.
Discipline.
Like the aesthetic
mindset.
style of like looking skinny, looking toned, like that's just a bonus. That's not why you're doing it.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be why you're doing
Right.
it. Should just be like, oh, the reward of what comes with it.
It's true, because, and I say it all the time, at the end of the day, when you're, God forbid, something happens and you're sick or whatever, you want to look back and be like, I did all the right things.
Yeah.
And you know what? Where I am is where I am, and I'll take care of it from here. But knowing that you did all the right things is really like something that you should want to be able to live with and think about,
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Well, I think also we were talking about earlier, if you want to hear us talk about anything in the future, any type of topics.
Yeah. If
that
anybody
we're
has
interested
anything
in.
specific that they want us to talk about or want us to touch on or want to know more about just in general,
Yeah.
whether you're a client, whether you're an avid store shopper, or if you've never even
Just a
been in
listener.
the store before, or just a listener, if you want to hear us talk about anything specific, you can always let us know and reach out to us on our social media.
Yeah.
And we'll be
DM
sure to
us
include
or
it. Yeah.
leave us a message. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll cover the topic.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Well, that's all we have for now.
all right, great. And please remember to always stop in at Innovation at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, or visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com, or call 516-802-5055. We're open 7 days a week and are always there to help you with your shopping, orders, weight loss needs. And I'll be happy to show you around the store when you come in. And if you're looking for a one-on-one plan, I can make your first free consultation appointment with Joseph.
Have a great day, everyone.